Kate. I am a Wi-Fi member. I sit on the board and I also chair the professional development committee that oversees our power hours, and we are thrilled to have you with us today. And welcome back to Catherine. We're excited she's joined us again and given us her time today. And before we get into that, we're going to go through a few things about Wi-Fi, but we are excited to do the Rock Your LinkedIn profile today. So join us for the next 45 minutes or so. You've got the Q&A. Feel free to put in questions. You're welcome to be on camera if you'd like, but you certainly don't have to be. And the chat is available as well. So we're excited you're here, and we'll get started. So Wi-Fi, if you've never joined us before, welcome. We are glad you're here. Tell your friends and bring somebody with you next time. But Wi-Fi's mission is pretty simple. It's to attract, educate, and empower women in the flooring industry. And we've got a huge breadth of members. It's exciting to see all the way from raw material supply to finished goods to retailers to residential, commercial, multifamily. All the bases are covered in our group, and we're glad you're here. We launched in 2021, and we are a nonprofit and have grown leaps and bounds every year and can't do that without all of you. So again, so glad that you're joining us today. Here's our board of directors. These may be some people that you know in the industry, women that are involved. We thank them for their participation. It's a wonderful group. If you have interest in being involved in more of the committees, or a future board position, we'd love to hear from you. We always are looking for great volunteers to give their time. Speaking of, our awesome professional development committee that has just been one of the highlights for me to spend time on, has just got an amazing group of women who puts together these various power hours. We're always looking for ideas and people who want to get involved. So if you have somebody or a topic, we'd love to hear from you. Lots of women across the industry on this one, but we oversee our mentor program as well as our Wi-Fi power hours like we have today. And we try to do those about once a month. We've got awesome corporate donors. Thank you so much. You know, many of these come from personal relationships that we advocate within our own companies to help support Wi-Fi. So thank you all for doing that. If you're not a donor, we'd love for you to be one. You can check us out on our website. There's lots of different donation options for individuals and corporate donors. And if you haven't renewed your gift this year, we'd love for you to do that. But big thank you to our sponsors. We couldn't do it without you. One of the great programs we have is our mentor program. What an awesome thing to be a part of. It's a 6-month commitment where you have once a month meetings. You're paired up across the industry, most likely with someone you don't know. But we are currently in our 4th cohort for the spring this year, but our fall cohort is open. And we've just had such a great response to this. Many of you think you can't be mentors, which is just not true, but we'd love to sign up mentors, mentees, people who want to make more of a connection in this crazy field. It's a great way to do it. So if you've ever considered it, we'd love for you to sign up and be on the fall list. We've got Jennifer on as well, who's overseeing a lot of that. Thank you. Speaking of awesome things, scholarship money. What a fantastic way to help grow yourself or someone in your network. We do post-secondary education scholarships, you can see there, as well as continuing ed. I love this program. We do scholarships 2 times a year, and the deadline is tomorrow. So if you don't need a scholarship, my ask to you is to put it out on your social network and let those in your network know about it so they can have a shot at a scholarship, because it's such a great opportunity and it's money we want to give out to people to help them grow as a professional. So deadline's tomorrow. We've got a couple great in-person gatherings coming up, so mark your calendar. We have one tomorrow for any of you at Coverings. They are doing a Wi-Fi Map Your Momentum workshop, which sounds like a lot of fun. We are also hosting a coffee and breakfast at Neocon on the 10th floor of the Mart in the Mannington showroom. If you are free on June the 10th, we'd love to see you there. And then we've also got the Alliance Flooring Convention. We're doing a roundtable on June the 17th. So mark your calendar for those. And the next month's Power Hour will be June, or the next Power Hour will be June the 4th with Lori Riddle Ebernez. And she is going to do being present in the moments of joy, which I can't wait for that one. Always a hot topic and something I think we all can have more of in our life. June 4th at noon. So please mark your calendar. We'd love to have you join us and share with your network as well. If you've missed any of our power hours, you can check us out online on the womeninflooring.org website. We've got all of our power hours are recorded, so you can go back and check them out and see any content that you might have missed. But today we are very excited to have Catherine Murphy, who is with LinkedIn Learning. She oversees their principal customer success management team. She manages that team for us and has joined us before, and we are thrilled to have Catherine back again to help us refine those LinkedIn profiles, because I know all of ours need some work. Whether you're looking for a job, just want to tell your career story and kind of explore all the tools and options that we have with LinkedIn. So without further ado, I don't want to take too much of her time away. Catherine, I'll turn it over to you to help us learn a little bit about how to explore those profiles in a different way.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Whitney. Thank you, broader team, just for inviting me today. I'm really excited to get to spend a little bit of time with you on this lunch hour. I apologize, my camera's not working. I did the tried and true, let's turn my computer off and on a handful of times. That didn't seem to fix it. So I have more of a technology issue than I thought. But you can see my massive photo here. So that is okay. I don't think I really need my camera on today, but it is a pleasure. I'm really excited for you. I'm sharing my screen, so certainly to broader team, let me know if you can't see it, but I think we should be good. Really excited to welcome you to what we refer to at LinkedIn is Rock Your Profile. It's a program that we run at LinkedIn to really help individuals build a profile that tells your professional story. Or for anyone on the call that maybe has yet to create a LinkedIn member profile, this will be a really great foundational conversation to instruct you how to set one up. As Whitney and Andrea have said, I've had the pleasure of working with Wi-Fi for some time now. 2 years ago, I was asked to conduct a very similar virtual session. So if any of you joined me for that one, certainly welcome back. Let's use this time to reflect on all that you have accomplished over the last couple of years and how you might want to refresh your LinkedIn member profile. And then for those of you that this is your first time, again, welcome. This will be a great opportunity just to make sure that you're putting your best foot forward, telling your story, your professional story via your LinkedIn member profile. By way of introduction, and Whitney did a fantastic job, but my name is Catherine Murphy. I am a customer success manager at LinkedIn for our talent solutions, but specifically on the LinkedIn Learning side for our global customers. And to break that down and just to give you some insight into what that actually means, if you're anything like me, I'm a very curious person. I'm always curious what job titles actually mean. Is I work with our large enterprise organizations across the globe that have invested in LinkedIn Learning specifically to ensure that they are upskilling and developing their workforce for business, leadership, those technical skills that are needed for jobs today. But also as we think about how jobs are evolving and shifting, especially with the advent of AI, what does that look like in the next 6 to 12 months, and making sure that we're getting the workforce really upskilled to the changing workforce that we're seeing today. And then also just to get to know me a bit more, I do live in the flooring capital. I live here in Dalton, Georgia. I've been here since 2017. I come by way of Atlanta, but previously up north in Connecticut, which is where I grew up. I have 2 young children, and I live here with my amazing husband, who also works within the flooring industry. So you can see a little bit about my career journey on this slide here, but really the focus for today is as I walk through the material, please feel free to ask questions, use the chat function. I will make sure to answer as many questions as I possibly can. I love to think I have all of the answers, but just in case I don't, I also love to be stumped. I will always make sure to follow up with the correct answer and follow up with everybody as a follow-up to this call as well. So before we dive in, let me give you just a little bit more of an idea of how we're going to use our time today and what you can expect from the session. But first, real quickly, rules of the road. Keep it casual, share your ideas, ask your questions. Let's learn from each other. And as I'm moving over to our agenda, which, we all see agendas very, very high level, but I want you to start to reflect for yourself. So how would you rate your profile? Does it even exist? So for, I guess, step one, is it okay? What would you like to improve? Wherever you are, we will discuss ways to enhance that. So I'd like for you to start to reflect on that. Our agenda, real high level here. First, you're going to get to know just a little bit more about LinkedIn. Then we're going to get to go over your profile. This is going to be your story. So we'll identify 2 to 3 qualities to really highlight across your profile. And then we'll review some best practices and recommendations for your profile. And if you're not ready to dive all in, that's okay. For some people, it's like, you know what, this is great information. I love that I have it now, but really, maybe I'll just start with step one and adding a picture. And that's fine. For many of you, you might be a little bit more along in your journey and you really want to make sure that you're expanding on your summary, your experiences, and all of those things. So wherever you are, that is completely okay. But first things first, want to make sure that you get to know LinkedIn, who we are, what it is that we do, and then we'll kind of move into the nuts and bolts of actually creating your profile and understanding those best practices. And then my hope is that you'll walk away really feeling just empowered on building a profile, developing skills, and really just strengthening the incredible professional that you are. So you're going to see my screen ship for just a moment. I do have a brief video. It's only about 45 seconds. I hear sometimes the audio can have a slight lag, so I apologize if it does. And then we'll continue on with the content.
I'm not hearing. I'm not sure if other people are.
Not either. I did hear it earlier.
No, there's no audio.
All right. I did see in the chat a couple people didn't hear any sound. So broader team, let me know. I think I did it right, but if not, I can just blame my computer for my camera also not working. So apologies about that. We do have closed captions. For anyone that missed it, I can certainly send out the link to that video as well. All right. Well, from that, for those, if the audio did work for some of you, again, apologies if it did not. I'd like just to make sure that we're kind of grounded in LinkedIn. And let's get started. Let's get in just to the meat of it. So the video, I love the video. And again, apologies if the audio did not work. But really it was designed to kind of define who are we? What are the things that are most important to us? Is that a true representation of what we do in our day-to-day, and how does that live up to our values? So as we think about our individual success, things where we are headed, we do really the same thing at LinkedIn, and this is really evident of our vision, who we are as an organization, our North Star, and that's to create economic opportunity for every member of the global workforce. This has been our North Star. This has been our vision for the last 21 years. And it's really what grounds us in everything that we do as an organization to make sure that we provide the tools and the resources to give every member that is on LinkedIn an opportunity to expand and grow within the workforce. And the way that we get there is really through our mission, which is what grounds us, and that's to connect world's professionals to make them more productive and successful. So that's kind of what we're here today to learn more about developing and improving on your member profile. How do we make sure that the broader workforce is aware of what you bring to the table, your brand? And that's what really connects our member profiles to the commercial side of our business. Like I said, giving recruiters the ability to see and to reach out to you based on skills if that's what you want, if you're ready for that next move, but also giving you the tools and resources to develop skills through digital learning. And what are the things that we're connecting to? The answer is opportunity. And for every one of you on this call, this could be whatever it means to you. It probably looks very different for each one of you. It could be to expand or to grow in your career, to help others find a new role. Maybe you're looking to build your professional identity, to learn a skill, to find a mentor. The opportunities are really endless, but it's your profile that can really help you to get recognized and to open the door to new opportunities, to whatever it is that looks like for you, and gives you the credibility, the ability to showcase your brand, and it tells your story. So while LinkedIn certainly isn't the end all be all solution, we can be a fantastic stepping stone to help you along in your journey. And a lot of that is because of the data that we have. So what you see here is a graphical representation of what is our economic graph. And this is just going to highlight some of the powerful data, the tools, and the insights that we have to help you to connect to opportunity and what that means for you. And that starts with our professional community. Just last year, we reached over 1 billion members. Pretty excited about that. Across 200 countries and territories, we have 65 million different companies represented on the platform and over 41,000 skills that are featured and have the opportunity to be developed on the platform, just to make sure that you have the opportunity to not just connect professionally, but also to develop the skills to take you further on that journey. Okay, so you have now a little bit of a better idea of just the power of LinkedIn, kind of who we are. You've gotten a feeling for the company and what we do. I'd like to kind of shift the gears a little bit and shine a spotlight back on you. So, what really brings you to LinkedIn? Typically, this is what we see. We understand that everyone wants to be professionally known for something, and it's up to each one of us to define what that really looks like. So, I'm going to be doing much of the talking today, but I also want everyone that has dialed in to really learn from one another. So by utilizing the chat feature, would love to really understand from you, what is it that you want to be professionally known for? It could be a specific impact on the business that you work for. It could be a specific problem you solved or a project that you lead. It could be something like, what is it that you want others to say about you when you're not in your room, in the room rather, I should say, that your brand promise. Maybe it's you want to be known as an excellent communicator, a trusted colleague, or just really living an authentic life. So I encourage you to kind of share your thoughts in the chat if you are open and willing to. And then you can also learn from others about what's important to all, because after all, this is really your story and this is your brand and how you want to use LinkedIn. So I'm just going to pause for a moment. I have this wonderful quote here that I love from Jimmy Neal Smith, that we are all storytellers. But I'll pause here for just about 20 seconds or so and just give everybody a moment in the chat just to add in kind of their thoughts and perspective. Being a supportive team member, excellent educator, resource for the trades, authentic, trusted expert, race and culture, fantastic. Everyone living life to the fullest. Yes, that's what life is about. Facilitate philanthropy. Wonderful. Serving people, communities, industries, and the world. That is great. All right. Well, I encourage each of you to continue to kind of noodle over that. If you're a processor like me, sometimes that can sound like a really big question, and I always feel like I have to solve the world's problem to think about what that means for me. But let's continue to learn from one another and share, what does this mean for you? And let's get into the nuts and bolts of a lot of this. All right. And good news is I have no more audio. So as long as you all can hear me, we should be good. Again, team, my apologies for my brief video and not showing audio. I thought my technology was working today, but clearly not. So all right. So why LinkedIn? So as I've shared, your profile is really how you tell your story. And let's kind of just break it down to the specific components of what a strong LinkedIn profile looks like. So your profile is your story. It's a digital portfolio that really represents and tells your professional story. And I encourage you all to think of it less as a resume, which candidly, it is commonly referred to as that, and more of a dynamic digital portfolio that's really engaging. It's visual, and it highlights the experience and skills that helps you to build your professional presence. So let's kick off this piece and this section of the conversation by just giving you some recommendations and some examples to help strengthen key parts of your LinkedIn profile. All right, so I have some animation here. I'm going to go through this. So kind of have some examples of like, what do you see? So over on the right-hand side, you can see a very common example. We have Paul Doe here. We can see that he has no picture. If we think a little bit more about this, we can see that there's not a lot of recent activity, and that's okay. You don't have to have all of these. Like I said, we are all in a different space in this journey, but want to just give you some things to kind of consider as you're thinking about your profile and kind of where you are. So we've got no picture, we have no recent activity, but we do have a fairly good about section. So we can see here, we can understand and learn a little bit more about who Paul Doe is and what they do. So we can see this example here. Let's take another stab at another profile. Here we have Jane Doe. So let's see kind of what's going on with Jane Doe's profile here. So we have a very strong professional picture here. But we really don't have a whole lot going on in the about section and no recent activity. And that's okay as well. You know, as I shared before, we're all in a different space in our journey. So if your step one is to just, you know, add in a picture, that's great too. But as we continue on in this conversation, we'll start to understand a little bit more about the importance of filling out your about section and the recent activity section as well. And then here's another. So Jane Doe, she has spent, maybe she's attended one of my sessions before. We'll see. So she has upgraded her member profile a little bit. So she still has her profile picture, which is great. She's expanded on her about section. So this can be really helpful. It just gives it a little bit more information about what it is that she actually does. So you know a little bit more about Jane. And then you can also see that there's some activity here as well. So it is important to be a little active on LinkedIn to either post your own thoughts, your own insights, share things, and we'll get into that in just a little bit, or just be active on other people's information as well. And then here's just a quick example, and I'll make sure that you all have this just as something to reference. But when we think about your LinkedIn profile telling a story, you can see here, and I won't call on any names, so don't worry about that. But as you look at these three examples, you can certainly see, you know, some pros to each one of them about really which profile here tells their best story. Okay. All right, so as you're starting to think about yours, my hope is that as you're seeing some of these examples, you're thinking of yours and you're like, oh goodness, I need to do a little bit more of that, or need to update this, or maybe I just need to create it to begin with. So let's get into what that actually looks like. So we're going to go through a handful of just kind of core foundational steps. And again, if you've already created your profile, just maybe some things to think about, you know, areas to refresh. But if this is brand new to you, certainly ask your questions along the way as well. So step number one is to add a photo. Your profile photo is really your virtual handshake. So you'll want to make sure that you upload a photo that really aligns to your role as a professional, but also makes you approachable. We do see members who include a profile will see, you know, upwards of 21 times more profile views. So you want to make sure that in your profile, like you're sitting up straight, your shoulders are back, you're smiling, you have open eyes, you're very approachable, and you're kind of communicating non-verbally that you're confident, you're competent, and that you have curiosity about the world. Your profile photo, though, certainly doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't have to be professional, but you just want to make sure that it is sharing the story of who you are. So if you snap it on your own, just make sure that the photo is a bit more on the high resolution side. It has some good lighting and it reflects just you. And also, if you didn't know this, and for those of you that might be excited about this, LinkedIn does have photo filters, just as many social applications do. So if you do need or want just a little extra polishing on your photo, you can use them by clicking into the pencil to edit your photo there. So you can see some of the filters here. You can straighten it, you can zoom it, and there's some filtering options if you should need it. All right, so after adding a photo, oh, and you'll actually see here's some quick examples. So it's 12 profile pictures done right. These are examples where you can just see some great smiles, some good lighting, some simple backgrounds, all reflecting, you know, different styles of individuals. But as we update our photo, the next important thing that we want to take a look at is some other additional features if you want to do this. So you can also record your name. So some of us might have some maybe more unique names that might need some pronunciation help. So you also do have the ability to record your name should you wish to do so. This is something that can only be done via the mobile app. So if you're only operating on LinkedIn for your member profile via the desktop, you will want to make sure that you download the LinkedIn member profile app on your phone. You are only limited to 10 seconds. And so you'll just want to make sure that you very quickly limit any background noise. You're going to want to speak slowly and clearly and hold the phone very close to your mouth as you are recording your name. Okay. Then as you have your photo, you're going to want to go into step 3, which is to create a standout headline. So our research shows that you know, having a headline is going to be really core. This is one of the first things after your name that someone is going to see about who you are. So you could have, and as you hopefully have likely explored LinkedIn, you could see somebody that, you know, focuses on philanthropy or a trusted expert or creator of systems, some of those things that you all have added into the chat. But you're going to want to add things that really represent your personal brand, your professional brand, and that can help you to differentiate from each other. It could also just be your job role, and that's fine too. Candidly, for those of you that have already looked at my LinkedIn profile, I just have my job role, and because that's really just what I want, and that is okay as well. But I've also seen things like storyteller, connector of dots, military veteran, strategy, leadership. Maybe you are an Excel guru, or maybe you're a pickleball novice, something to that effect, anything that really just helps to expand on your story. You'll want to make sure that you put that in your headline as it is outside of your photo and your name. It is going to be one of the first things that members will see. You also have the opportunity to add your industry. This is really helpful because if anyone is searching for individuals like you, they might start their search via an industry. So this will make you more relevant to be found by recruiters if that is your goal by being on LinkedIn. Or also if anyone is trying to follow you or really even just searching for you. So adding your industry is really important. It's how others will find you. It's how they will add you to your professional network or add you to their professional network rather. It'll give you 9 times more professional views and will be more relevant to recruiter searches. And so it's really simple. You can just click the pencil at the top of your profile if you are kind of going through some of this as I'm talking through it, where your headshot is and your name are, and then you can scroll down to either add it or edit your industry there. All right. I'm going to pause, see if there's any questions. I don't see any in the chat. So I'm going to slowly keep on moving, but if anybody has any questions, don't hesitate to come off mute and ask me. The next step that you're going to want to take a look at, or opportunity to lean into, is show if you're open to work. You can click the open to finding a new job in your profile. There's a open to button, and then you can select finding a new job. And this is where you'll have the ability to specify maybe a specific job title that you're searching for. You can also pinpoint the locations that you're interested in, or even maybe your job type. So maybe you're looking for a full-time job. Maybe you're looking for a part-time kind of a side gig. Maybe you want to do some pro bono work. Maybe you're looking for some remote opportunities. It could really be anything. It could even be, you want to lean into some mentoring or some menteeing work. You can do that as well. You can get very specific about your start date, so your community knows, especially if you are looking for a new opportunity. But keep in mind that there are two different ways that you can share this with your community. You can share this with all LinkedIn members, which means you will automatically have the green. Some of you have seen it. It's probably an eyesore, and I'm so sorry. It's going to be right here. It's like a green little banner that says hashtag open to work. Stripe that's added to your profile photo so that others can instantly see that you're open to new opportunities. And you also have the ability to share it with just recruiters only. So if you don't want your entire network to be aware of that, but you want recruiters to be aware, you can do that as well. We all know it can be tough finding a new job. The economic market lately has been a little bit rough, but know that the LinkedIn community is always there to help you, especially when you need it most. So one of those features to help you get noticed. But in addition to just having some banners on your page, it's also important to continue to edit. As we saw some of the examples before, a strong profile will also have a strong summary. So adding a summary, it's usually about 40 words or more. So, it needs to have a little bit of meat to it. Will make your profile more likely to turn up in a search. So a good tip is to ensure that it includes some of those keywords, the skills that are featured in job descriptions in your field, if that's what you're looking for. Or if you're not really looking for a new job and you just want to craft a compelling summary of what it is that you do, think about this as like your elevator pitch. So if you were to walk on an elevator and the CEO of your company joined you and it was just the two of you and they said, hello, who are you? Tell me about yourself. What is it that you do? If that is your elevator pitch, that can be a fantastic start to your summary about what it is that you do, what's the value that you bring, and what you bring to kind of the broader industry, to the workforce, or just to the meaning of the work that you do. So this gives you a really great opportunity to highlight your unique talents and really how you want to contribute to the broader workforce. All right. Now let's talk a little bit about content. So some of you might be like, well, this is great. I've seen, people, they have information about who they are, their photo, their name, their summary. We'll get into experience in just a minute, but they also have content on there. What is that? What is that about? But the featured content on your LinkedIn member profile allows you to showcase any work that you are most proud of right at the top of your profile. So this can mean that you're sharing maybe articles, could be images, could be documents, could be links that really help to bring your story and your brand to life. The featured section allows you to pin those articles and those posts. It could also be, things that you've authored or reshared so that it speaks to you and kind of how you round out your story. So think about other parts of your profile where you can feature rich media, such as your experience and education, to really tell your professional story. And when I say rich media, this is really defined as like a photo, a video, it could be a presentation, or anything else that visually enhances your profile and makes it highly more dynamic. And keep in mind, it doesn't really have to be that content that you own per se, although that's probably ideal. But for example, If you have a company that has a brand video or a company brand asset, you can use them in your profile, especially in your experience section. And I do that a lot. Like if you were to look at my profile, I do share a lot of things that LinkedIn, as that's my employer, that they share that I'm really proud of and some of the cool new things that they're doing. So highly encourage you to take a look at the featured content section as well. And then let's talk about experiences. So experience is going to be really your opportunity to tell your story and to talk about your accomplishments within each of the roles that you've had. And a great way to showcase your experience is to write in short paragraph form rather than bullets. However, I do see bullets a lot, and that's fine too. So to each their own, and however you choose to do this, but we do typically see short paragraph form is much easier on the eye to read if somebody else has stumbled across your member profile. So if you've worked at maybe a startup company or a smaller company that isn't well known, you can give a brief introduction to who the company is before detailing your experience. And then while it's great to talk about what you did, it's even better to showcase and highlight the impact that you had, the results that you delivered, and the change that you have created as well. And then here's an example of just kind of walking through this just so you can see what this looks like. If you were to go back, so I wanted to highlight this piece right here. If you can see where my cursor is, there is this little toggle here of notify network. So if this isn't something that you've edited before, you can go back and update without your entire network and any of your connections being notified. So if you wanted to update what your title was or add a title, your employment type, the company that you worked for, the location, the start date, and as if I were to continue to scroll down, then I can put in my experience and all of that. But you can turn the toggle off if you want to go back and edit prior information and not have your current network be notified. So I wanted to highlight that. And then here's the description piece that I spoke to. Notice that there will be a character cap, so it's 200. And this would be just a really strong example of a description that you could use. So again, sometimes bullets takes up too many characters. You won't be able to have as many. So that short paragraph form is really ideal. But I have seen bullets before too. So it really is just preference. But all right. For some of us, maybe we've had a career break. Maybe it was during COVID, maybe it was during some other things that have happened in our personal lives, or maybe we were forced to have a career break where we needed to focus on other things in our life. We've all, maybe I shouldn't say all of us, but maybe many of you have been there. I've been there in my life. I've had a career break as well. But this gives you an opportunity to highlight, what does that look like? You can add in the type, the details, you can highlight your experiences and the skills. Hopefully we all know that skills are highly transferable. So just because you had a career break doesn't mean those skills cannot be transferred to the job that you're looking for. And this can be added, and you can add in an about section and your profile video to tie into your overall story as well. For those of you that are really looking to grow your audience, we do have a feature within LinkedIn member profile where you can become a creator. This will allow you to grow and engage your audience through the content that you create. And it's a great way to establish that leadership, really to grow your followers, because it helps to highlight your original content within your profile and to build a following and really engage your audience around your content in LinkedIn. So once you turn on the creator mode, if that is something that you want to do, your connect button will change to a follow button. So instead of the number of connections that you will have a number of followers. And this will allow you to reach a larger audience that can see and interact with your content. And then LinkedIn will also display your number of followers right at the top of your profile. And then the content within your profile will then be recognized or reorganized rather to showcase your featured and your activity sections. So instead of seeing more of your experience, anybody that is following you is going to see your recent and featured activity. And this will really help you to establish your voice in the market, in the industry that you're trying to get more involved in, and also to help you get more discovered. Okay. And then you will also have additional access to kind of like some tips and best practices, and also some metrics to help you understand, the amount of followers, how they're engaging with your content, kind of how many clicks, how many views of the things that you post. So there's some additional metrics that you will see there as well, if you decide to turn that on. Just a few extras to make sure that you think of, for those of you that have volunteer experience. Volunteering is so important. So we certainly want to make sure that you have the ability to highlight that as well. We do have a separate section outside of kind of your professional experience, where if you wanted to highlight just pure volunteer experience, it's a great way to kind of round out your professional identity and to uniquely tell your story about, what's of value to you, what's important to you, where do your values sit, and how do you want to make sure that you're showing up. So you can add your volunteer experience, just give it a quick 1 to 2 sentence description of what you do for that specific organization. And then for those of you that are looking for maybe a new opportunity, what we are seeing is that hiring managers do view volunteer experience as equivalent to formal work experience. So that's fantastic as well. So really important part of your professional identity to make sure you include that as part of your overall member profile. And as someone who supports the LinkedIn Learning side of the business, I mean, we are all developing skills, whether it's through LinkedIn Learning, whether it's through another digital learning provider, or just in our own kind of day-to-day hands-on life experience. We are all developing and building new skills, however you're doing it on a daily basis. So make sure that you are adding your skills. It's great to showcase and highlight all the things that you're good at. Certainly, we know that adding skills, especially if you add at least 5 or more, can get you more profile views, especially important if you are looking for a new opportunity. And just remember that you are in full control of your skills. So you can choose what order they get displayed in, and who endorses you for what. And you can also control what gets featured on your profile and which ones don't. So certainly don't add, hundreds of skills of all of the things. I mean, if you are a master at cooking macaroni and cheese, that is an amazing skill, but maybe not one to add to your LinkedIn member profile. So do be very prescriptive about what you add, but know that you are also in full control there as well. And then I can't speak enough to this, but make sure that you are requesting recommendations. I have a few of these on my profile. I've been very targeted about who I ask and when I ask, but recommendations are a great way for you to build out your professional credibility. So if you haven't already done them, I would request a recommendation from maybe a colleague, a manager, someone that you've worked with in the past, and just kind of a few things to keep in mind with requesting a recommendation. We don't have like a formal template to necessarily use, but you are going to want to make sure that you customize your request. So especially if you're asking someone that's maybe more senior than where you are in your professional journey, make sure you let the person know what it is that you want to be recommended for. Maybe it was for a specific project, an initiative that you led, a partnership, things like that. And then also, if it is maybe a more senior leader, you can sometimes write a first pass to send it to them once you know that they have yes agreed to write you a recommendation. This can help them to save them some time, gives them something to work with that they can edit and then make their own. And then you can even send an outline for them to work with as well. And then I would just be very thoughtful and considerate about choosing people who you worked with closely, and who can provide specific examples of how your strengths, how your skills, and how your experiences have certainly showed up as well. Okay. Awesome. And then just a few other things. Don't forget, kind of details. I don't think we need to go through all of this specifically, but add in your location. Certainly adding in your jobs, your experiences, your industry is really important, but you want to make sure that you're adding in your location. If you do have any education that you want to add in there, certainly add that. Again, it's just going to help out to round out your skill set and what you bring to the table, and bring you just additional credibility to the story that you're creating for yourself. any publications, any accomplishments as well. So maybe if you've received an industry award or won an award just within your team, you can add any of those at any point in time. Right. And then the last piece that I'll get into, and then we'll open it up for some questions. But you do have the ability to build some thought leadership and really to help develop your voice. So this is going to be slightly separate from the creator mode. But if you're familiar with kind of publishing content, maybe in other platforms, you can do the same thing on LinkedIn. So it's a place where you can share your insights, your expertise, even your opinions if you want to within your professional community. And there's two different ways that you can do that. You can share an update, or you can also publish a post, just kind of depending on how you wanted to grow and engage with your network. So the first way to share your perspective, and really the quickest way and the high touch way, is through a status update. The second, really, publishing is going to be more of an opportunity to just explore a topic in more detail. So if you think about, a quick share, it's going to be a status update. Publishing is where you're going to write more in long form format. So kind of the how would you do this in terms of sharing a status update? You'll see the share box at the top of the screen when you log into LinkedIn Learning, and just a couple things to think about, for your status update, just to kind of help you stand out from the crowd. So my hope is that these are fairly givens here, but let's just talk through them a little bit. So this is your brand, this is your page, this is going to be your voice. Everyone's going to know that you're the one that's speaking to this. So share your authentic voice. It is a platform where your voice can be heard by your entire professional community. So be authentic, stay on brand for you, and even consider your organization that you work for as well, and then show up consistently. If you are someone that is looking for a lot of attention on LinkedIn, you really want to grow your network, you really want to grow your professional brand, you're going to want to post more frequently. So maybe it could be setting a calendar reminder for once a week or once every other week, or maybe it could be 2 times a week. I do know a lot of people that are very, very frequent on there. You could start a conversation. So it doesn't always have to be kind of a thought bubble or a thought post. You could post something that's maybe quick and snappy, that's really engaging your professional community. You could pose a question. You could provide your perspective, or on maybe a current event or an article. You could give an insider point of view and really encourage people to kind of share their views as well. Include rich media. We all have photos, we all have videos in our posts. It just helps us to stand out. And then just think about reciprocity, right? So if you are posting a status update or something, just know that people will probably respond. So just be careful about what you post. Very similar with publishing. Think of this as just a bit more long form. So as I mentioned, publishing is a great way for you to explore different topics that matter to you and to be able to share not just a quick status update, but to really be able to share your expertise and your broader, deeper insights with your community. Just know though that when you do publish content on LinkedIn, it does become part of your profile. It gets shared with your network. And once you've published content, people can follow you to stay on top of what you say and can also reshare as well. So very similar to posting a status update, you're going to start a post instead of a status update. You're going to select on writing an article, and then some best practices. Very similar to a status update, but also, slightly different as well, because it is a slightly different ask here. But you're still gonna want to be authentic to yourself. You're still gonna want to include a photo. You're gonna want to think about your audience. But article length does matter. This is going to be a little bit more long form, but we don't want it to be too long, right? But then you also want to create a headline that captures. So you'll think about a headline that helps to stand out. And you can just kind of ask yourself, is this something that you would click on in your busy day? Okay. All right, and then almost finished here. Just know, out of everything that I've talked about, you do have the ability to customize your feed. So as you see the news, the content, the posts, things that matter to you, maybe things that don't, you can see here, you can hide posts, you can unfollow people, You can report posts, and we do encourage that. I mean, don't do it for everything that you see unless you really do feel like you need to report those. But we do take reporting very seriously at LinkedIn. Security is also very important to us. So please make sure that you do that if you see anything that is inappropriate. And you can also get recommendations on how to improve your feed as well. Just to help, this just helps to make it a little bit more specific to you. You can see here I can hide my posts. You can also follow companies. So this gives you a great way to stay connected to the companies kind of in your industry, in your space, the ones that matter to you, the ones that you want to keep up to date on what it is that you are doing. It's very, very simple. You can just follow the company's page by searching for them under companies and then hit the follow button. And like I said, it just helps you to stay on top of news and trends and new product launches and all of that. So my hope is everybody on this call is already following Women in the Floor Covering Industry. So if you haven't, that is action number one. Make sure that you are following Wi-Fi, just to help to make sure that you're staying connected on all the amazing things that they are doing for you. And then in addition to companies, you can also follow influencers, other individuals. So you can follow, and this could even be a creator. If you go back to what I was talking about earlier, the follow kind of feature to it, you can follow creators and industry influencers just to stay on top of, trends, topics, insights just from the people that you respect and admire. So when you follow an influencer, you can see their activity across LinkedIn and their feed, but you are not a true connection to them. You are just following them. Okay. And then you can also go into an advanced search filters to help you find what's important. So some examples here, if you were to click on search, just to kind of give you a little bit of the how-to and how to do this at scale. You can search across industries, you can search across locations, you can search across companies. And then this is my duplicate. This is where I'm gonna just reiterate again. Sorry about this. I thought I had deleted this one, but you can customize your feed. And I guess I will say, since I have this slide in here twice, this is very important. I mean, chances are most of you have, social media feeds across other platforms as well, and we all go in it and customize. So just make sure that you're leveraging LinkedIn in a way that makes the most sense for your goals, to respond to, what you're bringing to the industry, to the workplace, to your experience and the overall personal brand that you have, just to make sure that you are showing your true colors out to the LinkedIn broader network, but also that you have the ability to see what you want to see, from the news, the content, and the posts that matter most. Yep. And with that, I know we've got about 5 minutes left. I will open it up to questions. I know I've been hearing some of the dings in the chat, so I know there has been a little bit of chatter, but I haven't been able to look. Reading and talking is not a skill that I've yet developed to be able to do at the same time. So Andrew or Whitney, if there are any questions, I'm happy to skim to and happy to answer anything, or we can do anything as a follow-up and just open up the floor.
Yeah, I don't see any questions, although we just had I just recently graduated from college and started a new job within the field of work I'm interested in. I'm worried that I have a lot of irrelevant work experience in my LinkedIn profile, mostly relating to the work I did in restaurants through college. What is your recommendation on including that work experience, or do I remove it completely?
I would not remove it. I would just be very specific on the types of skills that you're including. I mean, I will say, and I would be happy to connect after this one-on-one as well, because if you recall, from my work experience, I worked in the restaurant industry for a very, very long time. And what I can say, just working with recruiters and skill sets that I lean into, the ability to multitask, to manage multiple things at once, that sense of urgency. There are so many amazing qualities and skills that you learn and develop working in the hospitality space that are 100% transferable to the corporate work environment. And so I would encourage you to kind of lean in to those skills and talk about what you did and how you did them, even if you were, just working in the restaurant business. very easy to include those. So especially if you're starting out in your career, definitely be honest about what you have done. Work experience is important, but just make sure that you're highlighting the right skills. And I would be happy to have like a brainstorming working session with you if that would be helpful.
Great, thank you. One other question, how many employment years back should you put on your profile? What do you recommend?
That's really, I mean, that's a great question. It's one that I get quite a lot. It's really up to you. I mean, if you look at a resume versus the LinkedIn member profile, your resume per se should really be, 10 to 15 years, assuming that it's all relevant to the job that you're posting with. But your LinkedIn member profile is different. That's your brand. So if you want to go back to the very beginning to tell your full story, that could be hugely inspiring to somebody else. So it kind of depends on what your goal and your intent is. I typically see people just using their professional, like corporate, maybe again, kind of the last 10, 15 years, similar to a resume, but it's really up to the story that you ultimately want to share, especially if you've had some significant shifts. You don't know how that could inspire somebody else who's like, oh, wow, they were in this field and they completely moved over into this industry. I would love to connect with that person to understand how they did that, what that looked like for their career and what they did.
Great. I think that's all of our questions. Thank you, Catherine, for sharing all that. I know I wrote down some great examples of things that I can do to beef up my LinkedIn profile. And honestly, I don't know about anybody else, but sometimes you make it and then you like don't ever look at it for 5 more years or something. So it's nice to kind of get a quick reminder that maybe go take a peek at it every once in a while. So
Absolutely.
great stuff shared for sure. I love that we had a couple comments. The featured content and recommendation section is two things that I think a lot of people didn't have. So just a big thank you for everyone for joining. A reminder, we've got our next Power Hour coming up in June, a couple of in-person events coming up. And I'll just remind everyone, if you'd like to do a quick survey, this is like 3 questions. It takes 2 seconds. Scan it with your phone. We love to hear from you. We want this content to be meaningful and valuable for those. We appreciate the hour you give us. We know it's not a free hour. Everybody's schedules are very busy. So thank you for that. And just a quick reminder, Friends of Wi-Fi is our donor society, whether it's an individual contribution or corporate. We very much appreciate that. We've got some great new individual gifts that you can do. You can see there a monthly gift, or even if it's just a one-time thing. I know we've talked a lot too about giving it like it's a birthday gift, or, as we all get older, sometimes our list of needs changes. So it's a great way to incorporate people into Wi-Fi. So consider that. You can always check out more on our website at womeninflooring.org. And with that, don't forget to share our social posts. Lots going on. We have done a great job of keeping those up. Our marketing team has done phenomenal. So please follow us on socials and share. That's how we get the biggest word out, is when all of you all have such amazing networks. That's how we get our best reactions and participation. So thank you for those who do that. Don't forget to share the scholarship. It's due tomorrow. We love giving away free money to women in our industry who can use it. So please help us get that money into those right people's hands. And with that, I know we're at time. Maddie, Andrea, anything else for today? Thank you so much for joining us. It's been a pleasure. Catherine, thank you for the time and expertise. This was great.
You're
And
welcome.
yes, and we hope to see you all on our next Power Hour. Have a great afternoon.